what a lot of Republicans have been anxious about is that a lot of that aid will be for old sins that predate the pandemic. Congressman Brad Wenstrup joins us right now from Ohio. Sits on the House Ways and Means Committee, much more. He's a surgeon by training, and what's more, you do not mess with this guy. He was doing that in combat duty in Iraq. So I always love asking you tough questions, Congressman, when we're on remote, because in person I would never go that route. But it's very good to have you. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Neil.
Let's first of all get your take on where the president is going on this relief measure. He's entertaining all thoughts and ideas, but obviously it's not just coincidental that he's meeting with governors, big state and otherwise, and some mayors, all of whom could use some help. But the rap against many in your party criticizing this rescue states approach is it has nothing to do with rescuing them from pandemic-related causes. Are you in that camp?
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things we have to really look at is if this is a relief package for COVID-related entities, then let's talk about that. If you want to call it a bailout or make it a bailout just for people that didn't run their cities well or their states well, then say that. But let's be honest about it. But the problem is if you're going to do that, what are you changing so it doesn't happen again? So there's much to be considered in this, but it does seem like rather than just focusing on what happened with COVID. There's a lot of extra entities that have been added to this. And, you know, look, we're sitting in a situation right now where the president's package is $1.9 trillion. We have $1 trillion right now that have been appropriated and not being used. And we really should be looking at that. The other thing that we're seeing, and although we may be talking to a lot of people, it's interesting and maybe things will change as we go. But, you know, in last term, we had 4 bipartisan bills that we put out for COVID relief. What's happening today and what I saw in Ways and Means Committee just yesterday and the day before, we spent 9 hours each day remotely going through a bill where the Democrats offered no amendments, and when we offered amendments, they were all shot down on partisan lines. So it seems like the fix is in. They're going to go ahead. You know, they're using a tool that they use for the Affordable Care Act and that we use for tax relief, and so they don't have to have the larger majority in the Senate to get this through. And it seems like the cake is already baked, but we'll see. I'm glad he's talking to people. Maybe that'll be helpful.
He's also hearing from a lot of the progressives who have included, as you know, Congressman, that $15 federal minimum wage. I know how Republicans by and large feel about that, yourself included, but yeah. I'm wondering if he could scare off a couple of Democratic votes doing that. In other words, could that imperil the whole package if that's included in it?
If the $15 minimum wage is included, you know, look, Main Street talks about it. They know that it's going to be a job killer for so many, and I hope that it's not included. You know, the market always drives a good wage. We saw wages going up before COVID, and I think we should go in that direction to try and increase people's wages where the economy is better, and rather than forcing that. So I believe that's something that they want to put in there, but I hope that it's not, because, again, we're trying to create jobs right now. And history has shown that when you increase the minimum wage, especially substantially, jobs are lost. And we've also seen that with canceling Keystone Pipeline. And why are we doing things like that when we're trying to create jobs, get people back to work? You know, what we're really about right now is getting kids back in school, getting people.
I want to go to my buddies now. Kennedy, of course, of Kennedy fame, 8 p.m. Monday